Hello and welcome to Gaming Gatehouse and into this playthrough of Mass Effect 1. We will have another video dedicated to the lore of Mass Effect, the Codex secondary. Last time we read the entries about the various alien species, and we are now, well, there are new entries, and we will just deal with them right now and then follow with the Citadel and Galactic government. I suppose these new entries are few, so I think we're going to read them fast, quickly. The religion of the Turians. Turians' religion. Although Turians have a strict moral code, their belief in individual responsibility means that the concepts of good and evil are simply the individual's choice between egotism and altruism in any given decision. They have no concept of good deities that encourage noble behavior, of evil ones that tempt individuals to misdeeds. Turians believe that groups and areas have spirits that transcend the individual. For example, a military unit would be considered to have a literal spirit that embodies the honor and courage it has displayed. A city's spirit reflects the accomplishments and industry of its residents. An ancient tree's spirit reflects the beauty and tranquility of the area it grows within. These spirits are neither good nor evil, nor are they appealed to for intercession. Turians do not believe spirits can affect the world, but spirits can inspire the living. Prayers and rituals allow an individual to converse with a spirit for guidance or inspiration. For example, a Turian who finds his loyalty tested may appeal to the spirit of his unit, hoping to reconnect with the pride and honor of the group. A Turian who wishes to create a work of art may attempt to connect with the spirit of a beautiful location. Turians enjoy absolute freedom of religion and can practice whatever appeals to them so long as it does not impede anyone's ability to perform their duties. There are many practitioners of the Asari theorist philosophy, and since opening dialogue with the Human Systems Alliance, some Turians have embraced Confucianism and Zen Buddhism. Very interesting. Another reason to like the Turians. Aliens, non-council races. Krogan biology. The Krogan evolve in a lethal ecology. Over millions of years, the Grim struggle to survive larger predators, virulent disease, and resource scarcity on their homeworld Tuchanka turned the lizards into quintessential survivors. Perhaps they are lizards, okay. Perhaps the most telling indicator of Tuchanka's lethality is the Krogan eyes. Although they are predator species by any standard definition, their eyes evolved to be wide-set, as in Earth prey species like deer and cattle. Krogan eyes have a 240-degree arc of vision, better suited for spotting enemies sneaking up on them than for pursuit. Yeah, but they have that big lump in the back. I suppose they need that vision. Physically, the Krogan are nigh indestructible, with a tough hide impervious to any melee weapon short of a molecular blade. While they feel pain, it does not... While they feel pain, it does not affect their ability to concentrate. They have multiple functional examples of all major organs, and can often survive the loss of one or two or any type. Rather than a nervous system, they have an electrically conductive second circulatory system. A Krogan can never be paralyzed. They may lose some of this fluid, but it can be replaced by the body in time. The hump on the Krogan's back stores water and fats that help the Krogan survive lean times. Large humps are a point of pride. Being well fed implies the Krogan is a superior predator. The most widely known biological feature of the Krogan is their incredible birth rate and rapid maturity. Once freed from the hostile cauldron of Tuchanka, the Krogan population swelled into a numberless horde. Only the genophage kept them from outbreeding the combined council races. Now the rare Krogan females capable of bringing a child to term are treated like strategic resources. Warlords will trade them at diplomacy or, more frequently, fight wars over them. Now I could wait to live. That's it about the alien species. Citadel and galactic governments. Citadel Station, Citadel Security Service, CSEC. Citadel Security is a volunteer police service answering to the Citadel Council. The 200,000 constables of CSEC are responsible for maintaining public order in the densely populated Citadel. They also provide pirate suppression, customs enforcement, and search and rescue throughout the Citadel cluster. CSEC has 6 divisions. Enforcement, uniformed officers who patrol the Citadel and respond to emergencies. Investigation, detectives who puzzle out the truth behind crimes and bring perpetrators to justice. Customs screens the thousands of passengers and cargo containers that pass through the Citadel's ports every day. Network deals with cyber crimes like identity and copyright theft, hacking and viral attacks, and illegal artificial intelligence. Special response deals with hostage situations, bombs, and heavily armed criminals. In the unlikely event that attackers board the Citadel, they are also the front line of defense, armed with military-grade equipment. Patrol, naval arm, with ships stationed throughout the Citadel cluster. Unlike the other divisions, they are rarely seen at the Citadel, nor do they stay in one place long. Yes, because they are always in patrol. Joining CSEC is prestigious. Applications must be sponsored by a Citadel Counselor or the ambassador of an associate council race. Generally, applicants have many years of distinguished service in the military or police force of their nation, but an inexperienced applicant with demonstrable talent will be fairly considered. CSEC and the Spectres are often at odds. Many CSEC members, notably current Executor Venari Paulin, believe that allowing Spectres to be above the law is a dangerous practice. The actions of Saren Arterias leaned credence to this position. The Spectres, in turn, are aggravated when CSEC's dedication to procedure and due process hampers the investigations. I mean, Spectres have to be above distrust in a way. They have to be exemplary, moral, and true to the law. Citadel Station, Presidium Ring. The ring is an enclosed loop of park-like space serving as a connection point for the wards. The interior walls are lined with the embassies of influential species and private residences for the galaxy's elite. The Presidium is full of open-air restaurants, bars, and luxurious meeting areas. Gravity is about 1/3 Earth normal. A holographic sky is projected over the ceiling of the ring. Unlike the 24/7 bustle of the wards, the proceeding maintains a 20-hour day schedule, with a 6-hour night where lights are dimmed and the sky goes through a night cycle. Office and residences are often open to the interior. It is not unusual for embassies to have no exterior wall at all. This does not cause a crime problem due to the heavily CSEC presence and ubiquitous monitoring devices on the Presidium. Thieves are quickly identified and apprehended. Citadel Station, Serpent Nebula. The Citadel is surrounded by a blue-tinted reflection nebula. The light of the nebula is actually light from the Citadel, scattered and reflected back at the station. At first, the Serpent Nebula was assumed to be made of microscopic construction debris. Prevailing theory holds that the Proteans use molecular nanotechnology to manufacture the incredible durable materials used in the Citadel. But unlike other nebulae, the Serpent does not dissipate over time. Therefore, it must be replenished constantly. The current popular theory is that the non-recyclable waste collected by the Citadel's keepers is somehow rendered down to the atomic or molecular level and ejected into the clouds. The thick nebula presents a navigation hazard. Beyond the relatively clear areas around the Citadel, electrical discharges are common. These are not blocked by the kinetic barriers and can severely damage metal-framed starships. In addition, some dense knots of dust can overwhelm the repulsion of kinetic barriers on smaller ships. If such a vessel is moving fast enough at a time, the effects are similar to being hit by a sandblaster. Attempting to reach the Citadel through open space navigation is unadvisable. The only safe approach is through the various mass relays that orbit it. Right. But it has been done. When the Asari found the Citadel, they probably... Or did they? Oh. Good question. I wonder if the Asari, when found the Citadel, went through a mass relay or through open space. Citadel Station statistics. Although the Citadel is equipped with mass effect generator and elemental cores, most of the gravity of the station is generated by the centrifugal force of rotation. Okay, this is a bit too much data for me. Rotation 3 have 3.5 minutes per revolution. Rotation gravity in wards 1.2 Earth. Rotation gravity in the preceding 0.3 Earth, totaling 44 kilometers. Open. Diameter 12.8, ward length 43.6, ward width 330 meters. Preceding ring diameter 7.2 kilometers. Preceding ring width 553 meters. Exterior armor thickness 13 meters. Population, not including keepers, 13.2 million. Gross weight 7.11 billion metric tons. Height of the Presidium Tower 1047 meters. The Presidium Tower is taller than any current building here on Earth. Impressive. Citadel Station, wards. The majority of the Citadel's population lives in the wards, the 5 massive arms of the station that house the residential and commercial districts. Many galactic races have established cultural enclaves here. Population density and cost of living are extremely high, akin to Earth cities such as Hong Kong and Singapore. The wards are open-topped, with skyscrapers rising from the superstructure. Towers are sealed against vacuum, as the breathable atmospheric envelope is only maintained to a height of about 7 meters. The atmosphere is contained by the centrifugal force of rotation and a membrane of dense, colorless sulfur hexafluoride gas held in place by carefully managed mass effect fields. So there is only atmosphere close to the ground. The view from the water is spectacular. In the background, stars, Serpent Nebula, and a nearby blue giant called the Widow move across the sky as the station rotates to stabilize itself. In the foreground, the lights of buildings and vehicles on the opposing world arms perpetually shine. The Citadel has no real day or night, while the station keeps to standard galactic time for political functions. Businesses rarely close, and residents acclimate to sleep and work according to personal need rather than a day-night cycle. That must be hard to get used to, but I'm sure it's adaptable. Additions and modifications are constantly being constructed, though they must stay within certain specifications that will not compromise the operation of the station. Occasionally, the keepers will descend on an area of the wards and move or change the architecture without explanation. Residents have learned to live with these inexplicable intrusions. Can you imagine you have like a home and then the keepers just arrive and change everything and leave and don't say nothing? Meanwhile, you probably spent money on decorating the place. Okay, now we're done with the Citadel. Next, humanity and the Systems Alliance. Human diplomatic relations. Humanity has encountered many galactic species. Wars have been few, but mistrust is rife. Politically, the Alliance is a peaceful trade partner of the Turians. As a practical matter, however, there is simmering antagonism and bigotry between both populations over the First Contact War of 2157. The Alliance enjoys good relations with the Asari, though many privately believe the matriarchs are aristocratic and overcautious. Though humans know better than to unconditionally trust any Solarian, their shared reckless ways make them natural allies against the conservative Turians and Asari. The Krogan have no unified government, but individuals are generally treated as potential criminals, a reputation most Krogan enjoy living down to. The Alliance has no formal contact with the Quarians. Their migrant fleet has not yet passed through any human-settled system. The Batarians are rivals for control of the Skyllian Verge. They severed their treaty with the Citadel to prosecute the colonial conflict against the Alliance. Officially, there is no war, but neither is there any peace. Who does this reminds me of? The Batarians severed treaties with the Citadel. Officially, there is no war, just a special military operation. I'm sure this joke will age finely, 1 year or two. I'm talking about the invasion of Russia over Ukraine, but okay. System Alliance Geological Survey. As the human race expands its territory and raises the general standard of living, demand for industrial resources continues to grow. Many planets, moons, and asteroids contain a wealth of resources, but many systems have barely been charted, let alone thoroughly surveyed. Unmanned probes are one solution, but they are often lost to space hazards, unforeseen circumstances, or theft by salvagers. In recent years, AGES, the Alliance Geological Service, has offered bounties to private individuals or teams willing to perform mineralogical surveys on the frontier. This survey data is made publicly available to further corporate development. Due to the cost of travel and the danger of operating on hostile worlds, it is rarely a profitable endeavor. Light metals, metals with low atomic weight, are often used in the construction of spacecraft and vehicles. Heavy metals, metals with higher atomic weights, are used to construct equipment components. The platinum group elements are particularly useful. Rare earths, most useful materials in this category are radioactives or magnets. Gases. Various gases are required to support all known forms of sapient life. Some are commonly used as fuel. System of the Alliance Military Doctrine. The Alliance military is of great concern to the galaxy. At first contact with the Turians, they were completely inexperienced. Turian disdain changed to respect after the relief of Chanchi, or is Chanzi, where the humans surprised them with novel technologies and tactics. The human devotion to understanding and adapting to modern space warfare stunned the State Council races. For hundreds of years they had lived behind secure walls of long-proven technologies and tactics. The Council regards the Alliance as a sleeping giant. Less than 3% of humans volunteer to serve in the military, a lower proportion than any other species. While competent, Alliance soldiers are neither as professional as the Turians, nor as skilled as the Asari. Their strengths lie in fire support, flexibility, and speed. They make up for lack of numbers with sophisticated technical support, VIs, drones, artillery, electronic warfare, an emphasis on mobility and individual initiative. Their doctrine is not based on absorbing and dishing out heavy stocks like the Turians and Krogan. Rather, they bypass enemy strong points and launch deep into their rear, cutting supply lines and destroying headquarters and support units, leaving enemies to wither on the vine. On defense, the human military is a rapid reaction force that lives by Sun Tzu's maxim: he who tries to defend everything defends nothing. Garrisons are intended for scouting rather than combat, avoiding engagement to observe and report on invaders using drones. The token garrisons of human colonies make it easy for alien powers to secure them, for which the Alliance media criticizes the military. However, the powerful fleet stationed at phase gate nexuses, such as Arcturus, are just a few hours or days from any colony within their sphere of responsibility. In the event of an attack, they respond with overwhelming force. Systems Alliance Military Jargon. Ashore. When the ship's crew leaves the vessel, they are ashore. Though normally used regarding planets, it can refer to boarding a space station. Away. When the ship releases the equipment tethering on it to a space station or service dock, it is away. Aye aye, the proper way to acknowledge an order. If told to attack, the correct response is aye aye sir. If asked, are you proud to be a Marine? The correct response is yes sir. ASAP, ASAP, pronounced ASAP, an acronym of as soon as possible. Belay, stop, cease. Bridge, the navigation center of the spacecraft, where the steering is done. Captain's mast, non-judicial disciplinary proceedings by unit commanders. CIC, Combat Information Center, the command center of a spacecraft. The CIC is filled with sensor displays to make sense out of the chaos of combat. DC, Damage Control, the containment and repair of damage to a spacecraft. ECM, the electronic countermeasures used to avoid enemy sensors. from passive emissions masking to active jamming. EVA, extra vehicle activity, time spent in a pressure suit outside of a vehicle, spacecraft or station. Flank, the flank is the site of a military formation. Since the soldiers are facing elsewhere, an enemy that can attack on the flank can often turn it or roll it up. FNG, freaking new guys. It's not freaking, but we know, okay. Freaking new guys, the rest is a term for inexperienced personnel. Ground side, the surface of a planet. Helmsman, the crew member who pilots the spacecraft. Radar, light, amplified detection and ranging. An active sensor that bounces lasers off an object to determine its bearing and distance. Radar has sufficient resolution that the data can be reconstructed into an image. Shore party, spacecraft crew sent ashore on official business. Silent running, an old submariner's term used aboard a Normandy to denote when stealth systems are active. Sitrep, abbreviation of situation report, an evaluation of the current military situation. Spacer, someone who has spent most of their life in space. EXO, executive officer, the second in command of an Alliance warship. The EXO is responsible for administrative and personal matters. EXO Presley, he is the executive officer and second in command. He is the officer in command of the Normandy when Shepard is ashore. Systems Alliance military ranks. The Alliance was a modified version of the ranking system that has been used for hundreds of years. Soldiers are classified into rank and file enlisted personnel, experienced non-commissioned officers, NCOs, and specially trained officers. The divide between the naval personnel and ground forces, Marines, is small. Ground units are a specialized branch of the fleet, just as fighter squadrons are. This unity of command is imposed by the futility of fighting without control of orbit. Without the Navy, any army is pointless. The Marines, as a matter of pride, maintain some of the traditional rank titles. For example, Marines have privates and corporals instead of servicemen. In ascending order of responsibility, the ranks of the Alliance are: enlisted, serviceman third class, private second class, serviceman second class, private first class, serviceman first class, corporal. NCOs, those are non-commissioned officers. Service chief, gunnery chief, operations chief. Officers, second lieutenant, first lieutenant, staff lieutenant, lieutenant commander, staff commander, captain major, rear admiral, general, admiral, fleet admiral. Systems Alliance N7. The Alliance Military Vocational Code system classifies the career paths of all servicemen personnel. The MVC consists of one letter and one number. A soldier's MVC indicates proficiency, not rank. The letter notes career path. The number indicates level of experience, as indicated by service record, technical scores, and combinations. All 27 letters are used, and numbers run from 1 to 7. N is the letter code for Special Forces personnel. So N is for Special Forces. 1 is to 7. Is 1 like the lowest number, or 7 is the lowest number? I suppose 7 is it's a higher rank. Timeline 2069. Nice. Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. 2103. Lowell City in Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. 2137. Eidesville Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. 2142. Construction of Gagarin Station, Jump 0, begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. 2148. Prospectors discover the protein ruins at Prometei planet on Mars. Prometei. 2149. Translation of protein data leads humans to the Charon mass relay. Systems Alliance founded to coordinate exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. 2151. A shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to containers of dust-formed Element 0. Alliance began construction of Arcturus Station. 2152. Roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after Element 0 exposure suffer from cancerous growth. Systems Alliance begins settlement of Earth's first extrasolar colony world, the planet Demeter. 2154. Commander Shepard is born. 2155. System Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as its headquarters. 2156. Some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. 2157. Turians encounter human explorers. First Contact War. Occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shanzi. I think it's Shanzi. Or Chanchi. 2158. Humans learn potential of biotics. International effort to track Element 0 exposure begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biological ability. 2160. Systems Alliance Parliament formed. 2165. Humans establish embassy on Citadel. 2170. Battarian slavers attack the Alliance colony of Mindwa. 2176. Skillian Blitz. Pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital in the Skillian Verge. 2177. Thresher moths devour the Alliance colony of Akus. 2178. In relation for the Skillian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers on the moon of Torfan. 2183, current date. Okay. Which year did Shepard born? 54. 54 to 83. 50, 34. 270. Wait. My math. My head. 54 to 83. 84 will be 30. So, Commander Shepard has 29 years. 29 years. So, that wraps up the Humanity and Systems Alliance. Planets and locations. Station. Gary Station. Gary Station is the largest deep space station built by humanity. A Bernosphere designed with a 500-meter diameter habitable area. It was constructed beyond Pluto, nearly 80 astronomical units, 12 billion kilometers from Sol. One astronomical one astronomical unit is the distance between Earth and the Sun. So the distance from the Gagarin station from the Sun is 80 times that. Moving crew and material to this location bankrupted most of the backers. Oh, great. Gagarin was placed at the inner edge of the heliopause, the point on which the solar wind can no longer push back the interstellar medium. It was built to test a number of faster-than-light drive. It was built to test a number of faster-than-light drive principles that theoretically could only occur in interstellar space. The station was nicknamed Jump Zero, as it was intended to be jumping off point for humanity's expansion into the galaxy. Shortly after the station was completed, the protein ruins were discovered on Mars, rendering the entire effort moot. Oh shit. You spent all that money to create a space station for it to be pretty much useless for the original design. After struggling to make a profit for a decade, Gagarin was sold to the Systems Alliance in 2159 for a fraction of its construction costs. The Alliance refurbished as a research and training center for the recently discovered biotic phenomenon. In 2169, the biotic acclimation and training program was shut down and Gagarin became a general research facility. Its remote location and intentional isolation from the extranet makes it popular for dangerous research, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence. Humanity's first stable AI, the Alliance-sponsored ELISA, achieved sapience at Gagarin in 2172. Whoa, what happened to it? Today, Gagarin Station has a permanent population of approximately 9,000. A plan has been proposed to move it to the gravitationally stable center point between Pluto and the Charon Relay, allowing it to serve as a gateway facility between the Sol and Arcturus systems. The high cost of safely moving its mass has delayed this indefinitely. Everything is expensive in regards to space. Ships and vehicles. There's a lot to read. FTL Drive appearance. New space travelers ask, what does it look like outside the ship moving at faster than light speed? Part of the answer can be seen in a single pane of glass. Light travels slower through glass than it does through open air. Light also moves slower in conventional space than it does in high-speed mass effect field. This causes refraction. Any light entering at an angle is bent and separated into a spectrum. Objects outside the ship will appear refracted. The greater the difference between the objective exterior and subjective interior speeds of light, the greater the refraction. I don't understand what does mean, but okay. As the subjective speed of light is raised within the fields, objects outside will appear to be too redshift, eventually becoming visible only to radio telescope antennae. High-energy electromagnetic sources, normally hidden to the eye, become visible in the high blue spectrum. As the speed of light continues to be raised, X-ray, gamma ray, and eventually cosmic ray sources become visible. Stars will be replaced by pulsars, the accretion disks of black holes, quasars, and gamma ray bursts. To an outside observer, a ship within the Mass Effect drive envelope appears blue shifted. If within the field that allows travel at twice the speed of light, any radiation it emits has twice the energy as normal. If the ship is in a field of almost 20 to 200 times light speed, It radiates visible light as X-rays and gamma rays, and the infrared heat from the hull is blue shifted up into the visible spectrum of higher. Ships moving FTL are visible at great distances, though the signature will only propagate at the speed of light. FTL drive charge. As positive or negative electric current is passed through an FTL drive core, it acquires a static electrical charge. Drives can be operated an average of 50 hours before they reach charge saturation. This change is proportional to the magnitude of mass reduction. A heavier or faster ship reaches saturation mode quickly. If the charge is allowed to build, the core will discharge into the hull of a ship. All ungrounded crew members are fried to a crisp. All electronic systems are burned out, and metal bulkheads may be melted and fused together. The safest way to discharge a core is to land on a planet and establish a connection to the ground, like a lightning rod. Larger vessels like dreadnoughts cannot land and must discharge into a planetary magnetic field. The ship passes the charge from the drive core to the exterior armored hull and dives into the magnetic fields. As the hull discharges, sheets of lightning jump away into the field, creating beautiful auroral displays of them on a planet. The ship must retract its sensors and weapons while dumping charge to prevent damage, leaving it blind and helpless. Discharging at the moon with a weak magnetic field can take days. Discharging into the powerful field of a gas giant might require less than an hour. Deep space facilities such as the Citadel often have special discharge facilities for visiting ships. Right. It's like building up of static electricity. Then you touch in a piece of metal and it's you discharging the electricity. Space. There's so much to read. I don't know if I can read everything. Let me see. Okay, weapons and armor and equipment has just one entry. Technology has a bunch. Ships and vehicles have also a great... so many. I will try. It has been like 45 minutes. Space combat. Combat endurance. Heat limits the length and intensity of ship-to-ship combat. Starships generate enormous heat when they fire high-energy weapons, perform maneuvering burns, and run on-board computer electronics. In combat, warships produce heat more. I'm getting sleepy. In combat, warships produce heat more quickly than they can disperse it. As heat builds within the vessel, the crewed spaces become increasingly uncomfortable. Because the heat reaches lethal levels, a ship must win or retreat by entering FTL. After an FTL run, the ship halts, shuts down non-essential systems, and activates the heat radiation gear. Combat endurance varies from ship design and by the battle's location. Battles in the deep cold of interstellar space can go on for some time. Engagements close to a star are brief, since habitable worlds are usually close to a star. Battles over them are frantic. Space combat. General tactics. Shells lofted by surface navies crash back to Earth when the acceleration is overwhelmed by gravity and air resistance. In space, A projectile has unlimited range. It will keep moving until it hits something. Practical gunnery range is determined by the velocity of the attacker's ordnance and the maneuverability of the target. Beyond a certain range, a small ship's ability to dodge trumps a larger attacker's projectile speed. The longest range combat occurs between dreadnoughts, whose projectiles have the highest velocity but are the least maneuverable. The shortest range combat is between frigates, which have the slowest projectile velocities and highest maneuverability. Opposing dreadnoughts open with a main gun artillery duel at extreme ranges of tens of thousands of kilometers. The fleets close, maintaining evasive lateral motion while keeping their bow guns facing the enemies. Fighters are launched and attempt to close to disrupted torpedo range. Cautious admirals weaken the enemy with ranged fire and fight the strikes before committing to close action. Aggressive commanders advance so cruisers and frigates can engage. At long range, the main guns of cruisers become useful. Friendly interceptors engage enemy fighters until the attackers enter the range of ship-based guardian fire. Dreadnoughts fire from the rear, screened by smaller ships. Commanders must decide whether to commit to a general melee or retreat into FTL. At medium range, ships can use broadside guns. Fleet intermingle and becomes difficult to retreat in order. Ships with damaged kinetic barriers are vulnerable to Wolfpack frigate flotillas that speed through the battle space. Only fighters and frigates enter close knife fight ranges of 10 or fewer kilometers. Fighters lose their disrupted torpedoes, bringing down the ship's kinetic barriers and allowing it to be swarmed by frigates. Guardian lasers become viable weapons, swatting down fighters and boiling away warship armor. Neither dreadnoughts nor cruisers can use their main guns at close range. Laying the bow on a moving target becomes impossible. Superheated thruster exhaust becomes a hazard. Starships. Crew considerations. Cabins give each individual 10 cubic meters of space. On larger vessels, private rooms are common. As ships get smaller, the number of crew packed into a single wardroom increases. Asari prefers shared spaces even on large vessels, while Krogan territorial instincts make it impossible for them to cohabitate even on the smaller ships. On smaller vessels, hot bunking is the norm. Crew members assigned to different watches share the same bunk. When one gets off duty, he wakes up the person in a bunk. While that crewman is on duty, the first gets his rack time. Spacecraft compartments can be isolated by airtight doors in case of decompression. The cinematic vision of explosive decompression is fiction. Hold compartments either take enough damage that occupants are killed instantly or leak slowly enough that they are able to reach protective gear. Compartments are equipped with emergency life support apparatus, fireproof plastic bubbles with air bottles. Small when stowed, ELSA comfortably accommodate one individual inflated. Damage control procedures cut off ventilation to burning compartments. Without oxygen to consume, fires die in seconds. The compartment is repressurized afterwards for crew recovery. Mass effect fields create an artificial gravity, AGRAV, an artificial gravity plane below the decks, preventing muscle atrophy and bone loss in 0G. Large vessels arrange their decks perpendicular to their thrust axis. The highest decks are at the bow, and the lowest at the engines. This allows an aircraft to work with the inertial effects of thrusts. Ships that can land arrange their decks laterally, so the crew can move about while the vessel is on the ground. Warships normally turn off their aircraft systems during combat, reducing the heat generated by systems and increasing combat endurance. To provide a point of reference for navigating 0G, floors are painted a different color from the walls and ceilings. Starship cruisers. Cruiserweight starships are the standard combat unit encountered away from large naval bases. The poor bloody infantry of most fleets, nimble, scouting frigates have neither the punch nor the stamina to stand up to serious combat, and the mighty dreadnoughts are a strategic resource, carefully hoarded and committed to the most critical battles. Cruisers perform routine independent show the flag, patrols in settled systems, and lead flotillas of frigates in small engagements, such as pirate suppression campaigns. In major fleet engagements, cruiser squadrons support the dreadnought battle line by screening their flanks against enemies attempting to maneuver for a main gun bowshot from their vulnerable broadsides. Alliance cruisers are named after cities of Earth. Starship Dreadnought. The Dreadnought is the ultimate arbiter of space warfare. Millions of tons of metal, ceramic, and polymer dedicated to the projection of firepower against an enemy vessel of like ability. No sane commander would face a Dreadnought with anything less than another Dreadnought. A Dreadnought's power lies in the length of its main gun. Dreadnoughts range from 800 meters to 1 kilometer long, with a main gun of commensurate length. An 800-meter mass accelerator is capable of accelerating one 2-kilo slug to a velocity of 183 kilometers for every 2 seconds. Each slug has the kinetic energy of 38 kilotons of TNT, 3 times the energy released by the fission weapon that destroyed Hiroshima. When used to bombard planets, some of this kinetic energy is lost due to atmospheric re-entry friction. As a rule of thumb, each atmosphere of air pressure saps approximately 20% of the projectile's impact energy. The Turian fleet presently has 37 dreadnoughts, the Asari 21 and the Solarian 16. Humanity has 6, with an additional hull under construction as Arcturus at Arcturus Station. Alliance battleships are named for mountains of Earth. Everest class, Everest, Fuji, Elbrus. Kilimanjaro class, Kilimanjaro, Taichan, Shasta, Aconcagua, under construction. Oh, my camera died on me, so I'm just recording audio. So I think I'm going to end this video for tomorrow. I will continue tomorrow to reading the Codex secondary entries of the Codex. We are close to 1 hour. I'm again becoming tired. My voice is kind of failing. So thank you for still put up with me with these lore videos, and I'll see you next time.